all. If you'll pardon me for a moment. Antonio Tambornino here with my reviews of The Tale of Princess Kaguya and DC Universe's animated film, The Son of Batman. The Tale of Princess Kaguya, now, I know these films came out some months ago. I'm sorry, been busy. Anyway, The Tale of Princess Kaguya might not strike you immediately as a Studio Ghibli film. The style in this is significantly different. It's also not a Miyazaki movie, but it is a Studio Ghibli film because it's directed by the guys who've been working for Isao Takahata for years, and this is in fact an Isao Takahata film, I believe. Now, The Tale of Princess Kaguya is based on an old Japanese folklore about a little girl who is born from a bamboo shoot to a farmer who helps her become a princess. And how he does that is by spending a lot of money on getting her into a royal house, getting her royal-looking clothing, basically helping her live the life of a princess. But the whole time, none of it is actually real. And that's kind of the moral of the story in this film, is The Tale of Princess Kaguya is sort of more or less living one fantasy versus another fantasy. And what makes this film so strong is how the princess tries to live her life. She's just trying to live an ordinary life. And she's fighting for that life the entire time, even while she's living her fantasy as a princess. Even though her father, whom she loves very much, and who loves her very much, is doing his damn best to make her life feel as royal as possible, despite the fact that they are not royalty. The animation style is different. It's not the kind of thing you usually see coming from, well, anything mainstream anime or manga. In fact, a lot of the anime and manga we're used to seeing have got these really big expressive eyes, these really big, silly-looking heads, these tiny little bodies, or something maybe not hardcore, but not something that looks like it's been ripped out of a storybook for kids meant to highlight an Asian folktale. And that's what this animation does. That actually helps enhance the quality of the storytelling in the movie. Now, Isao Takahata and Miyazaki are both master storytellers. And part of their gift, part of their craft, part of their mastery is their ability to make a scene look as mundane as possible, and yet still make those mundane elements feel like an entire adventure in and of itself. And they're able to do this with a 2-hour movie, usually. One of Miyazaki's most recent movies, from Up on Poppy Hill, could have easily been told in, say, half an hour. It did not need to be a 2-hour flick. The Tale of Princess Kaguya, astonishingly, amazingly, was compelling enough, despite its mundane tone, to actually keep us compelled and captivated the entire time, up until the very end, which some people might say is very tragic. But that's really hard to say, because it's a very emotionally complex film, and that's another thing that makes Studio Ghibli films so strong, is their emotional complexity. They're not straight up tragic, but they're not exactly romantic tales either. Now, with DC Universe's Son of Batman, I'm sorry to say I was not entirely impressed with this movie. I'm not saying it was a bad film, because it wasn't a bad film. It was a good film, but it was a little bit strange. In a way, it was inept. There was something about it that just did not quite work. And I think the problem with that is, despite the animation, which looks so cool, I mean, I saw it online, I could not wait to see this movie. And then I watch it and I think, so what's the point? Well, the point is the fact that it's about Son of Batman, Damien Wayne, who becomes the next Robin. And Damien Wayne grows up with his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, who trains him to be a fighter, a very skilled fighter, but not a very calculating fighter, I guess. Someone who thinks before he acts, which is what Batman is very good at, and it's what Damien Wayne is not very good at yet. And that's kind of what this movie tries to do, is it tries to tell the whole origin story of Damien Wayne, going from being the skilled fighter, the man of action, the kid of action, to being someone who takes a step back for a moment, thinks before he acts, which he doesn't do in this movie. This movie's problem, though, is that the story told in it did not need to be an hour and a half or hour and 45-minute movie. It would have worked better had it been part of an overall series, if it had been more episodic. Okay, introduction to Damien Wayne, move on. Okay, introduction to Damien Wayne, Batman, move on. Now we have the ending, Batman, Damien Wayne is going to become Robin. That kind of structure is just one example of where it could have gone. Again, it did not need to be one seamless movie, a direct-to-video movie at that. It could have been, again, more episodic, told in pieces, not one whole coherent thing. The writing style also feels like DC Universe is trying a little too hard to be like Warner Brothers, which is kind of weird because they don't have to do that. This is DC. Warner Brothers, they don't strive just for quantity, they also strive for quality, which is why their shows tend to be so good. It's because they have excellent writers. DC Universe, you'd think that a company like this that owns these superheroes and have for years would be a little bit more careful with how they do their stuff. Again, it's not a bad film. There are people who have seen this film who probably loved it. I just wasn't one of those guys. I gave The Tale of Princess Kaguya 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a great movie, but it's still a wonderful movie. I give Son of Batman 3 or 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, not a bad flick. I just wasn't impressed. Thank you very much for your time. Have an awesome day.